So normally I'd have an NBA talk video for you guys today, but there really just wasn't too much news to talk about, and I really didn't want to come out with like a 4 to 5 minute video. There was some great game performances, like Jaylen Brown's performance last night, Jimmy Butler's historic free throw shooting night on Tuesday, but I thought it would be fun to do my first 2023 mock draft of the new year and my first 2023 mock draft on Fanspo, in my opinion, the best place to do NBA mock draft. And I plan on doing multiple mock drafts this year. The next one will probably come post-trade deadline, and then we'll have our post-March Madness, post-NBA regular season, post-lottery, post-playoffs, all of those. So if you guys enjoy these, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Like always, you can let me know if you like the team's pick that I made for your favorite team, or if you dislike it, or maybe any of these players you thought should have made the lottery or not. We're just going to be doing the lottery for now because I do want to talk about these prospects a little bit. And as of now, the Detroit Pistons have the #1 pick in this. The NBA is a lottery. So if you have the #1 pick projected at the end of the year, the worst record in the league, you only get a 14% chance of the #1 pick. So we're just doing this in a vacuum. The #1 pick is obvious no matter who is picking at #1. It's going to be Victor Wembanyama. You guys all know how good Wemby is. You've heard his name so much. The NBA literally bought the France league that he's in's like TV rights just to get his games broadcasted to NBA fans. He's going to be an elite scorer from the outside, from the inside. He has great ball handling skills for a 7'5" center. His wingspan is just off the charts. He's going to be a great shot blocker. I think he actually has an underrated passing part to his game, and he's going to have to develop that in this league when he gets double teamed by physical front court players at the next level, which will be more challenging for him. And I don't think he's going to light the world on fire in a sense where he's already All-NBA second team in his rookie season, but he's somebody that you could build your franchise around, and he's one of the best prospects we have seen since probably Luka Doncic, at least talent-wise at this current moment. Zion as well. So he's going to be going to Detroit with the #1 pick in this mock draft. You would have Cade Cunningham, you would have Jaden Ivey, Victor Wembanyama. That's a nice trio to build around. You also have supporting young players like Saddiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, and Killian Hayes. Wemby would sell tickets. He's going to sell jerseys. You're going to make a lot of money if you get the #1 overall pick as well. Just the amount of hype he has. So yeah, he's going #1 of the Pistons here. If you get the #1 pick, you're literally getting a lottery ticket there. So second pick, we got the Charlotte Hornets, which is a really tough team to really be picking #2 because Wemby would be perfect on this team. And they already have their franchise point guard in LaMelo Ball, but I think that LaMelo Ball and Scoot Henderson can coexist. You kind of saw something similar to Detroit drafting Jaden Ivey when they already had Cade Cunningham. You've seen the Hawks have two primary point guard with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. So I think this is still a no-brainer getting one of the best point guard prospects we have also seen in a minute. This guy can be a 3-level scorer in this league. I think he's going to be a great 3-point shooter, and he attacks the rim like nobody else. He has that explosive next step to his game, like a Ja Morant, like a Russell Westbrook coming out of UCLA. He is going to be the real deal. Mainly any other year besides this year, he'd be the #1 pick in a draft. But there's just a Wemby in this class, so he's not going to go #1. So yeah, those are the clear-cut #1 and #2. I have not seen really enough out of some of these next tier of prospects that I think could go above Scoot Henderson, no matter who the team is. The NBA is a positionalist game. You take Scoot at 2. And at #3 for the Houston Rockets, I'm going to have them select Brandon Miller out of Alabama, our first NCAA player. Miller is going to be a really good defender at the next level, and he also is an elite 3-point shooter at Alabama right now, shooting 43% from downtown throughout this collegiate season. He's averaging around 19 points, as you can see there. 9 rebounds. He's a physical body. He's only 19. He's got a great wingspan. If he's going to develop into his body and becomes just a stronger overall player, it's there. But I think Brandon Miller has the potential to be one of the best power forwards in the league someday. Him going to Houston would be really nice. I think you can explore some rotations with him at the 3, as well as Jabari Smith Jr. at the 3, and you go best player available. And Brandon Miller right now is my 3rd best player in the 2023 draft, behind Wemby at 1 and Scoot at 2. Coming in at #4, we have the San Antonio Spurs. Not going my next best player on the board. We'll get to that guy in a little bit. It's going to be Amen Thompson out of the Overtime Elite League. Now, Amen Thompson right now is the best guard on the board, and that's who I want the Spurs to take because they do have a plethora of wings with 2 new draft picks this last draft in Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley. They have Devin Vassell, who's taken the leap this year. It's unfortunate he's out due to injury. They have Keldon Johnson, who they extended in the offseason. They have Jeremy Shohan playing those minutes at the 4. And I think Amen Thompson would be great for this team's future. The only thing that I'm a little bit scared about is because the Overtime Elite League is not good talent to go up against. It is far below European and collegiate talent and the G League as well. People say you're playing basically high school players there. It's like another AAU league, at least the talent that's not on the team that Amen and his brother Asor is on. So he scares me a little bit in that sense, but all the intangibles are there for this dude to be an amazing playmaking point guard. And I think just getting drafted into a great organization like the San Antonio Spurs would just do wonders for the kid. And yeah, you're just building to that young core. And he's 6'7", he's got a great frame. He's not as good as Scoot Henderson. He's not as polished. He's not as ready as an NBA prospect. But the Spurs aren't trying to win now at the moment, so I think they can take the time, be patient, develop them then. Now, the Orlando Magic are probably a team that wants to draft a point guard in this upcoming draft, but Nick Smith, who just went down with another injury for Arkansas, I don't know if that would be the smartest selection here. And I'm going to go with my 4th ranked player in this draft, Cam Whitmore. Like I said before, the NBA, it's a positionalist game. I know that you have Paolo Banchero at the 4 and you have Franz Wagner at the 3. Don't worry. You take Cam Whitmore. You let that figure itself out. This dude is going to be a great scorer in the league. Trust me. I think he's going to be able to just find a shot and get it wherever he wants. He's not as maybe shifty and quick as Benedict Mathurin was coming out of Arizona, but I think Cam Whitmore is going to be able to score inside. He's going to be much more of a physical presence there, and he's going to be able to be a good mid-range shooter, and I think he's going to develop a nice 3-point shot because he has shown promise this year at Villanova. So he's going to go to Orlando here. Yes, there would be a little bit of lineup kind of concerns. You're going to move Banchero to the 5, but hey, they've had no problem playing tall players at the 2. We've seen a lineup of Bol, Franz Wagner playing shooting guard. They've had Wendell Carter Jr., Banchero all out there at once, so I don't think they would have a problem playing Franz Wagner at the 2 and maybe running some Jalen Suggs at the 1. Next up, we have Chicago's 1st round pick that is technically going to Orlando. And imagine getting this, because then you could take like your sure prospect and Cam Whitmore, and then you could maybe take a chance on another point guard prospect. So Nick Smith is somebody that would probably be the obvious pick here, but he's had a very small sample size, so I'm a little hesitant. I don't know, just because he's been injured at Arkansas this year, which has been a shame. So my pick for them is going to be Cason Wallace out of Kentucky, who's been a solid passer for the Wildcats this year. They've had their struggles, but he's been a good enough scorer. He's been a good 3-point shooter. He's been good at attacking the rim. He doesn't really turn the ball over too much, which is what you want in a point guard, and seeing that there. He's a good defender as well, and I think he'd be huge for that Orlando Magic backcourt, because they need to find that backcourt kind of just to be solidified, because they took Jalen Suggs high in the draft in 2021. He hasn't really shown all the promise in the world that you had hoped when you took him. Marco Fultz and Cole Anthony don't seem like they're the franchise options. I think Cason Wallace does have the chance to be that for them. Next up for the Toronto Raptors, if we're going to see a little bit out of Nick Smith this year, or enough that a team feels confident in drafting him, I think the Raptors would be a good place, because Fred VanVleet might be gone in the offseason, and you could put him in that core of Scotty Barnes, and if you do keep him, OG Anunoby, because he has the intangibles to being a really good defensive point guard, and that's what the Raptors want to build. That's what Nick Nurse wants to have in his system. He's only played 5 games this year for the Razorbacks, and like I said before, just got re-injured. So I'm hoping we are going to see him before tournament play, but the prospect hype was there. I liked what I saw in a vacuum with him on the floor. Now, I'm not totally confident in his offensive skill set in only 5 games, averaging around 24 minutes a night, because the efficiency wasn't there, but he seems confident. He can get his own shot. I like him enough that I would take him. If you can be patient, let him get those reps in. Shaedon Sharpe was just a 10th overall pick, and the dude did not play 1 collegiate minute. So I'm not too worried about Nick Smith, as long as he's not going to be an injury-prone player, which, hey, you might have to take the risk on. Next up for the OKC Thunder, I'm going to have them select Keontae George, a shooting guard out of Baylor. I have him over Asor Thompson due to the competition he's playing. Same thing with Amen Thompson for Asor. We'll get to him in a little bit, though, and I'll talk about the overtime and how I feel about him. But Keontae George is somebody like Cam Whitmore, and I think they're going to be compared a lot going into the draft, even though Cam Whitmore is a little bit taller and definitely plays up a little bit more. But Keontae George is somebody that can also find his shot, and I really like his skill set. Now, his field goal percentage and 3-point percentage haven't been the greatest. The 3-point percentage is definitely a lot better to look at, but his I don't know, his jump shot, it looks smooth. He can get his shot. His confidence is there. He's a great free throw shooter, which makes me think that he's going to be fine developing his three-point jump shot. He'll be 19 in his first NBA game, so I'm not too worried about him. And OKC, I think, would be getting a great player there. So the Pelicans, I think this is a perfect team to look at SROS Thompson, Amen's twin brother, over in the overtime week. So same thing with the men. The competition there isn't great, but they could do something with what they did last year in taking Dyson Daniels. They don't need to take somebody that needs to make an immediate impact. Yes, it would be nice if somebody can come in and be your 6th and 7th man, because the Pelicans, they want to be competitive next year. They're getting this pick from the Lakers, and Dyson Daniels came in as a little bit of a project player, but he's been a great defender. But I think getting a SROS Thompson would be great for them, because I think he could be a 1, a 2, or a 3 in the NBA, because he's a great passer. He's got good court vision. He's a good three-point shooter, but not a great free throw shooter, which does scare me a little bit, and the Pelicans would need to work on that. But I think he's going to be a great defender in this league, and that seems like what the Pelicans want to build around. They want to have that second unit of great defenders like Dyson Daniels and Jose Alvarado going out there and playing just great defense to have an uplift to that team. So SROS Thompson going here, and imagine him with Herb Jones as well. I think that would be great. They can help develop him. Hey, he wouldn't even hurt like playing in the G League just for a tad bit, because the Pelicans don't need him to play on opening night at all. Talk about a team that could use a point guard, right? The Washington Wizards. Unfortunately, there really isn't a point guard that I would take here with the 10th overall pick, but there's somebody that I think you can convert to a point guard, and that's Anthony Black from Arkansas. Nick Smith came in. He was supposed to be that lead guard for them this season, but we knew that Anthony Black, still only 19, had that skill set to be a good facilitator. Well, he's averaging just around 4 assists for the Razorbacks this year. He's been able to score. He's shot the ball well from the field. His three-point percentage isn't too bad either. His free throw percentage isn't the greatest, but you know what? I think he does have development, because I do like his jump shot. He's a good rebounder, but I think more importantly, he's a great defender, and that's something the Washington Wizards could really use, so they're going to take him here with the 10th overall pick. Next up, we have the Utah Jazz via Minnesota. And I'm going to have them take freshman standout Jet Howard out of Michigan. Howard wasn't really known to be a lottery pick going into the season, but he started off very hot for the Michigan Wolverines this year. He's been a good scorer from the field. He doesn't turn the ball over too much. He's actually a good facilitator as well, while being a score first guard. I think he could be a solid 3-and-D guy in the NBA, and that's something the Jazz could be looking for, so they're going to be taking him with the 11th overall pick. Next up, we have the Atlanta Hawks, who are currently in the lottery, and I'm going to have them take one of my favorite prospects in this draft, Grady Dick, the 6'7" freshman out of Kansas. He's somebody that I think could end up being a top 10 pick on draft night, because he is just an efficient machine for the Kansas Jayhawks. He shoots 46 from the field. He shoots 47 from 3 on 5.5 3-point attempts a night. He's an 82% free throw shooter. So I really have no concerns about his shooting efficiency at the next level. He's a physical guy. He plays good defense. He's got the size. He's got the intangibles. He's got the age at the next level. He's got the shooting form. This guy is a flat-out bucket. I love Grady Dick as a prospect. I think I'm going to talk to myself into him being a top 8 pick in the draft. Finally, with the last two, I think that the Utah Jazz, who have another pick, this one is theirs, could go for some more big man depth with Walker Kessler there in Utah, and they can have their pick of the litter. They can go for Gregory Jackson, Kyle Filipowski, but I like Kel'el Ware out of Oregon because he's a big body. He's 7 foot tall. He's strong. He's physical. He's actually a pretty solid shooter for a center as well. He does shoot 71% from the line, but we'll see if we can work on that. But I think if you're taking him with your second first-round pick in the 2023 draft, you really can't go wrong. And finally, with the last pick in the first round, I think the Golden State Warriors are going to select, wow, he's not really high here, Chris Murray. Yeah, he's ranked 34th here on ESPN. I think he's going to rise up draft board just because of how good of a shooter he has been. And a team that wants to compete, and I don't think the Warriors are going to be picking here on draft night, can go after Chris Murray. Kind of how like Desmond Bane was such a highly touted prospect, and some of these other guys that just shoot up because they are elite shooters. And I think Chris Murray, like his brother Keegan, is just going to be like that at the next level. He does shoot 38% from 3 on 6 threes a night. He shoots 52% from the field. He's averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds for the Iowa Hawkeyes this year. The only thing for him is he is 22 years old. He's going to be 23 at the start of next year's season. So he's going to be pretty old, but I don't think the Warriors are really worried about that because Steph doesn't have many years left. Same with Klay Thompson. They already have Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga. We'll see with James Wiseman, so they don't really need this player to be 19 years old. I think Chris Murray would fit perfectly for them, and he's going to be the last pick of this video, the last pick of the lottery, and boom, There it is. So to recap, we have Wemby going number 1 to the Pistons, Scoot number 2 to the Hornets, Brandon Miller 3 to the Rockets, Amen Thompson 4 to the Spurs, Cam Whitmore 5 to the Magic, Keeson Wallace 6 to the Magic again, Nick Smith to the Raptors at 7, Keontae George to the Thunder at 8, Asor Thompson to the Pelicans 9, and Anthony Black to the Wizards at 10. And to wrap up the lottery, we have Jed Howard to the Jazz at 11, Grady Dick to the Hawks at 12, Gloware to the Jazz at 13, and Chris Murray to the Warriors at 14. Some notable guys that did not go in this lottery that I think could just go from that 15 to 20 range: Jarace Walker, Dariq Whitehead, Kyle Filipowski, Dylan Mitchell, and GG Jackson. Let me know if you agree with or disagree with any of these picks down below. I love you guys. I'll like if you like the 2023 draft content, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.